You're listening to the Career Jump Podcast. Insights, interviews, and success stories to inspire and give you the edge when you make your next career jump. Hosted by your career concierge, Andrew MacAskill.
Hello, welcome back to the Executive Career Jump Podcast. I'm your host and career concierge, Andrew MacAskill. And we've managed to get Gary Wills on today. How are you doing, Gary?
Yeah, not bad, Andrew. How are you, mate?
Brilliant, mate. Very, very good. Really appreciate you taking the time out because I know what a busy chap you are. So thank you very much for coming on here. Full disclosure, Gary and I have known each other for quite a while. We collaborate a lot behind the scenes. And just based on the discussions that we always have, he was one of my top picks to come on the podcast next because I know how passionate he is about helping people in transition. And I think he's got heaps to offer. So just for those who haven't heard of Gary, give us a little bit more of a background in terms of you and what you get involved with.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, so my name's Gary Wills. I've been a recruiter for the best part of 20 years for my sins. Worked for some amazing companies, gone pretty much all the way from resourcer all the way through to sort of account manager, new business development, basically 360, done everything. And in April of last year, I actually found myself furloughed for the first time in my career. Like, everybody didn't know what the word furlough meant. But unfortunately, I went from pretty much doing really well to being pretty much felt like I was on the scrap heap at one point and thought, why me and all of this? And then I realized that there was I think it was 8.2 million other people that were on furlough. And I realized actually at that point, maybe there is something positive that I could do with my time out of work. So I decided to set up a non-for-profit charity called FurLearn to support the job searcher. And the main man, Andrew MacAskill, came on the very first session. And we just talked about personal branding. And every week we did other sessions as well. Like, we had growth mindset experts to polar explorers talking about self-isolation to master chefs helping us cook and eat healthily at home. We had all sorts. Mr. Motivated Derek Evans, an ex-prisoner of war, John Peters, talking about the time he was shot down in the Iraq War and how he turned his life around. So every week we put on some really special events, and we still continue to do so every month. And it just kind of took off, as you know, Andrew. It went pretty well. And off the back of that, I decided to set up my own recruitment business called Talent Today to help the job searcher and also improve the recruitment process.
What a journey. Yeah, it's been an incredible 12 months for you. And quite rightly, you've been recognised through awards in the industry. You've been on the radio, you've been on TV, you're on the front of the Recruiter magazine. What's that all been like? It's just been nuts, hasn't it? Completely wild.
Yeah, that's, mind blowing. Like I say, 20 years in recruitment, and, you go to some awards night sometimes and it's just surreal. It was just going from one thing to the next, like front page of the Recruiter magazine, my ugly mug on the front. I couldn't believe it, and the recognition is just amazing. We won 2 huge awards at the Learning and Performance Institute called the Learning Awards, where we were up against the likes of AstraZeneca, Fujitsu, Lloyds Bank, and we won 2 golds there, which was just insane. Having Claudia Winkleman presenting the awards to us live. And I've got to say as well, them guys put on an amazing virtual show. It was the best I've seen actually out there. And it was just, it's just an amazing team of people, 17 people. I think the power of a community when people that are really struggling and suffering, they want to give, it goes so far. We had people that didn't have skills in chosen, we gave people roles and they didn't have skills in them, but they wanted to learn it. And that was really powerful because they really give everything. And now some of them are now bloggers. They've never done writing before. It's just been insane. The volunteers are just incredible people. And this weekend we get to meet up as well for the first time. We've never met.
That'll be brilliant. I hope all that goes very, very well. So let's go back. You touched on it when you were explaining your story there, that when you initially found yourself on furlough, you were disappointed, you were quite stressed out by that decision. Take us back to there. What is it you were feeling and thinking at that point?
Initially, there was a bit of resentment. There was like, why me? I felt like I had more to give. I wanted to fight, I wanted to fight through the pandemic and bring business into the company that I loved that company. I still do love the company that I used to work for. And I guess you kind of feel like you're a little bit of a a bit of an outsider. You're not in the team anymore. You're on the bench almost. But very quickly, I just realized it was a business decision. You know, there's so many companies going through the same thing, and you know, it's a tactical choice. You know, just keep you on the bench, keep you warm, you know, and bring you back at the right time. Which looking back, it was probably the best decision they made at that point, but it wasn't for me. So I think there was a lot of people going through this time of uncertainty and didn't have this sense of purpose. And me being very active, as you know, Andrew, I had to do something positive to just try and get me through them tough days. And I used to call them, as you know, the furloughs, because there was a lot of them. You know, there was a lot of days where it was extremely tough. You know, I had an amazing family, I had the kids around me all the time, but it was very difficult, you know, going from 9 till 7 o'clock every night, piling down to London all the time, and then going to sort of almost just stability, silence, nothing. You know, it was very, very difficult to get my head around it. So I decided at that point, you know, to keep active, keep exercising, do a little bit of charity work, and then set up FurLearn, which just helped me leaps and bounds to, you know, get to the next level.
Yeah. Where and how do you think you found the energy to do that? Because it's easy to kind of sink into the stress of the situation, isn't it? So how do you think you managed to break through that slump?
I think there was, you know, I used it as my fuel almost, that I had a point to prove that I wasn't spent, that, you know, not that anybody was saying that, but I felt like I was being furloughed. I took it too personally because I was within a small company within a big old corporate world, but I was in a small company. So I took it personally. So I felt like I had a point to prove, that I wanted to do something to prove to myself that actually there is still so much more that I can give, and there is still something more that I can create for the future. So when I set it up, you know, I did visualize, you know, I was very, very, like, especially after the session with yourself, I was like, this could go very well, you know, and I'm going to kick on now 110% to make it kick on really well. And I had the co-founder, Jade Johansson, who was just like, she was like the ideas, kind of like this, the creative, the ideas behind it, absolute genius, sort of branding and marketing guru is Jade Johansson. And I think the tag team of the two of us, you know, for 8 weeks, it was just the two of us just putting these shows on. And then we brought the community in together, and it just went bang, it just catapulted, you know, it just went to the next level.
Yeah, well, there is definitely something soothing about serving others during your own time of need, isn't there? I've found that a couple of times, and I've seen a number of people taking that approach over the last 12 months. And it's, you know, they say there's no such thing as a selfless act, right? And it's kind of true in a way, because in being selfless and paying it forward, it helps you so much as well, doesn't it, in terms of your own self-concept?
Yeah, there's been a number of people that have paid it forward. You being one of them, you know, I remember us meeting for a beer, and I was like, I don't know what to do next. And we just went out for beers, didn't we? And we just, you know, you gave that time, you drove 150 miles just to, you know, you're a busy guy, you know, but it's that, I used to say, do good, get good. That used to be my motto back in the day, but I don't believe that anymore. It's more do good, feel good. I feel like if you do something positive, if you do something great for somebody, you know, it makes you as a person feel better for that day or the week or whatever it is. And it actually gives you more energy to perform better in that day, in that moment, because you know that you've made that person's day. So I imagine when you gave me all these ideas about how to create talent today and stuff like that, you probably drove home feeling, yeah, I've done my bit, you know. Yeah, I bet you did. So and rightly so. And look where we are today. It's great.
No, it really is. Good conduit onto talent today as well then. So obviously out of the back of all of this, you decided to set up your own company, and I want to talk a bit further about that. In the recruitment world, having worked for other people for the previous 20 years in the recruitment world, what was it about working with the thousands of people in the FurLearn community and hearing about their experiences of the recruitment industry that inspired you to go off and try and create a solution? Tell me a little bit more about that.
It was very evident that they felt that the job search was broken, that there was a lot of ghosting, that there was a lot of resentment towards the recruiter. So it's one of the most powerful things that we did, actually, Andrew, and myself, you and Jade sat down and we interviewed, I think it was 30 people in the session. We asked them, you know, what is it you want from a recruitment business moving forward? And we I think the biggest thing out of that was we actually created the company values, code being the superpower, community, opportunity, diversity, and empathy. And all of them things together were key words. They just kept coming out all the time that the job searcher wanted. They wanted that empathy. They wanted that understanding. If they didn't get the job, they don't want it like an email or ghosting. They want to be told straight to the point. What is it? What have I done wrong? How can I improve moving forward? So almost, as much detail as possible. So if a client comes back to me and rejects a candidate, I will push back and say, no, I need to know why. You've got to tell me why this candidate is not suitable, and I need War and Peace. It's going to help them moving forward. So little things like that, going the extra yard, and trying to fast track the recruitment process was massive as well. Is that there's too many stages, it's too clunky. It feels one-sided as well, that it's the client making the decision rather than both the candidate and the hiring manager. So there's so much that we learn.
Yeah, and there seems like a real appetite for change on both sides of the hiring equation at the moment. The recruitment industry's been very criticised in the past, sometimes fairly, sometimes unfairly. There's loads of awesome people in that space, as you and I very well know. But there is a real appetite for things to be done differently. That's clear. So I'm excited for you. And I know you've had a cracking start with Talent Today as well. And you did 12 months worth of target in 6 months and all of that. So it's great from my perspective to see some more transformative models coming out that are built on strong values. So good luck with all that. We'll monitor it very, very closely. So going back to people in transition, then there'll be people listening to this podcast that might have been made redundant in the last couple of weeks, right? There's still a lot of change going on. There's still 2 million on furlough at the time of recording this. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. But say somebody's listening to this who's just been made redundant. What are your kind of top tips, things they should be thinking about in terms of where they go from here, Gary? Love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is, it's fine to feel, a bit hurt at the moment, okay? So, but just remember, I think once you can accept it, acceptance is the key. Once you can accept the decision has been made and not let it beat you up anymore, and understand that it is the position that has been made redundant, not you as the person. Take the emotion, take that feeling of resentment almost away, and the hatred of like, oh, what, why me? Take that up, remove it, and then actually just sit down, calm, and work out what is it you want from the future. What is it you really want? Did you enjoy that job, or do you want to train? Do you want to cross train to something else, or how am I going to approach my job search, going about it strategically rather than maybe scattergun approach. There is so much more smarter ways, which I'm sure we'll come on to in a moment, about how you can actually go about your job search and get the best out of the recruiter, get the best out of your connections that you've got in the job market. But 100% just remembering that it is the position that has been made redundant, not you.
Brilliant tip. The recruiter side is very interesting. Let's start there in terms of our tips then. So a lot of people say, I don't know how to get the best out of recruitment consultants or headhunters. As a recruitment business owner, the candidates that get the best out of you and build the best relationship with you, what are they doing?
Yeah, so the candidates that speak to me, they just, I'd say they give me information, it's a two-way thing. It's not like they're giving me leads or anything like that, but they're communicating about what's going on in the market, and they're giving me insights into maybe what's hot at the moment within technologies. I can also see as well that they're engaging with me maybe on LinkedIn, on social media. So they're making me think about them all the time. So if they're commenting on my stuff, they're in my frame of mind. So let's say I'm looking for a project manager, and I can see Sarah is constantly, contacting me and making comments. And when a project manager role becomes available, Sarah's in my mind straight away, before I even go to the database. We are moving that way where it is very much about your personal brand, your personal presence. It's roles get filled very quickly, and there is the hidden job market as well, as that roles some roles don't even get put on advertised or put on social media because the recruiter is so scared to get so many applicants apply for the position. So you've got to be, in the mind of the recruiter and the hiring managers as best as possible. So just communicating, I heard a fact the other day that there's only like 1% of LinkedIn being used. Is that true?
Yep. Only 1% of people on LinkedIn post.
Yeah. So this is the bit where I think, right, okay, so if there's only 1%, how do you make yourself stand out in that 1%? Because there's still a lot of people, okay, communicating. So rather than sending free text messages like to the hiring manager or the recruiter, why not send them the audio message? So it just warms it up a little bit more. So if you go into your mobile phone and you go into messages, you'll see a microphone symbol. Send an audio message to that person. Say, hey, I noticed that you just checked out my profile. Is there anything at all that I can help you with? I'm open for a virtual coffee at any time. Don't worry, the drinks are on me. Anyway, have a great day. Whatever, okay? Just trying to get yourself heard. That now, rather than it being free text, there's a bit of your DNA that is coming out. You know, they're starting to hear who you are. They think, oh, they sound nice. And I can guarantee you they probably had that feature, or very many times had the audio message come through to them. You're going to stand out from the other 100 applicants, the other 100 candidates. Or again, you could say, I've noticed that you're advertising for this role, Gary. I've sent my CV through to you. Do you mind just checking it out? 100% I'm going to check that CV out because they've gone above and beyond and you've stood out.
Hey everybody, it's Andrew here. Just wanted to very briefly interrupt this podcast episode to tell you a little bit more about our Career Jump Club. So our Career Jump Club was created to help job seekers understand what they want and how to get it, right? So becoming a club member is a great move if you're looking to get the clarity and confidence in order to secure your next role. With the membership, you get a number of different things. So first thing you get is access to our online platform, which has over 30 videos, 40, 50 different templates, workbooks, and it takes you through everything from sort of understanding what you want to how to position your CV and LinkedIn, how to interview, how to close offers and negotiate better salaries, a full end-to-end job search course effectively for senior leaders. So you get that, you get a fortnightly group coaching call, which is with me and with the other members, where we bounce around best practice, share slide decks, share techniques, and share the latest data on what's working for people. And you get to, most importantly, become part of our closed LinkedIn group and our closed community. And in there is where the magic often happens, because you get people referring each other into opportunity, supporting each other, and just sharing. And that's what it's all about. So if you're financially able and you'd like to invest in your job search, head on over to www.careerjump.com, all one word, /club, and you'll find the landing page and come and give it a go. We'll see you in there. Anyway, back to the pod.
I love that. It's actually quite simple, isn't it? You've just got to take that extra bit of action. I love what you said about the fact is whoever's front of mind is going to be who gets the attention. Like any kind of branding exercise, it's about being front of mind. And the decisions sometimes, as you and I know, between which 5 out of the 15 candidates get put on the shortlist, sometimes those decisions are tricky and are nuanced. And actually you make them based on the people that you like and trust and that you've spent time with. Because if you've got 15 strong program directors, they can all do the job. So you as the recruiter, you're then having to find other ways in your mind to differentiate who you put in front of the client. And someone who's more known to you, you feel like you trust more, so you're more comfortable putting them forward. Fair?
100%. And this goes, little wins, little bits like this. These, I call them the little wins, right? So as long as you get the message right, okay, the candidate has now had the interview. Why not use the audio message again, or at least follow up? At the very least, if you're not comfortable within the audio message, at least follow up and leave the hiring manager thinking of you. So maybe leave them that message to say, really enjoyed today's session. Listen, if there's anything else at all that you need or you want to know, just drop me a message. I'm always online. Be great to hear from you. Anyway, have a great evening. Cheers. Right? Simple, sweet. You're not begging. You're not overselling or anything like that. You're being helpful. But again, you're showing them, they're hearing you, you're last in mind. They're thinking, that stood out.
100% right. Excellent insights there, guys. If you take one action away, take that. Like, just do it. Just do it. Get yourself out of the comfort zone. Send your first voice notes. Find a way to stand out. You'll be amazed. Just to close that off and back up what Gary's saying, a friend of ours, Dylan Roberts, who runs ppl.io and is an interim chief people officer, he ran an advert recently for a FD role for a tech company he's helping scale. He had 150 applicants in no time, and 2 sent him a direct note. So this idea that when we're on the job market, we convince ourselves there's no point posting because everyone's posting. There's no point sending a note because everyone does that. There's no, actually they're not. They're really not doing it. So get out there and take that action. That's great advice from Gary. I want to talk to you about business ownership as well. So, there's a lot of people who are more, what I would call natural entrepreneurs who leave school, start flogging stuff, move and shake and find their way into business ownership quite early in life. That wasn't the case for you. As you said, you had 20 years employed by other people and have only recently, I guess, taken that leap. And we're also seeing many others make that choice, almost, the mid-career professionals taking that choice. Why now? What have been your key learnings? And what do you see as kind of the pros and cons of being employed versus doing your own thing?
Why now for me? Just thought it was now or never. When my furlough was recalled in August of last year, I could have took, maybe you look at it, the easier option where there was a salary coming through, but I personally felt that it was just a perfect storm, that there was so much momentum that was built and you just feel it inside of you. I think if there's somebody every morning, if you're waking up and you're getting in the shower and you're just like, I don't want to be doing this. And that goes on for more than a couple of months, either one, it's time to move jobs. Or two, if that thing inside your head is, I really want to set up my own business, I really want to do something, then that's the time. You don't let it drag too long. I'm not saying hand your nose in or anything like that, but I'm saying start planning. Start planning what it is that you want to create. Start speaking to smart people, about, what it could be. Start doing the market research. What is it my community, my target audience want? So you can create something like pretty much what we did, Andrew. What is it people want, from a recruitment company moving forward or from a consultancy moving forward or whatever it is you're trying to create. So I would say when that, that feeling of you've just had enough, you feel spent, you feel burnt out, maybe, then's the time to start thinking about what is next. Definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree. And key learnings in terms of pros and cons now that you've spent a bit of time in the business owner seat?
Oh my God, it's just been, there's, I think like 80-90% of this job is admin. It's just, I saw something from Amelia actually the other day and she was like, oh my God, 90% of my job is just admin. And it is very true. There's so many plates that you've got to spin, and having support around you and people that understand that the first 6 months are going to be extremely difficult to get this off the ground. Don't be scared to reach out to people, to ask for favors, take them easy, quick wins and celebrate the wins as well. That is massive. Your first deal, get it up on the wall, get that invoice printed out and celebrate it, because before you know it, you're on to the next one. You're on to whatever it is you're doing next, whatever it is you're selling or what you're trying to provide. You're always thinking about the next thing, but there's that time where you've got to sit back and just go, right, let's celebrate now. That worked, but how can we make it better? I'd also advise as well, it's something that I'm looking into, and I know something that you do quite a lot of, is using virtual assistants and actually getting people to do maybe some of the work that you used to do at the very beginning, but now actually you think, do you know what, I am better working out what you're best skilled at. So I'm best skilled at sitting in front of a hiring manager or a client and explaining about what Talent Today is, what FurLearn is, and then actually maybe passing that work across to a designated team, but that takes time and that takes money, so I'm still doing everything at the moment with a couple of virtual assistants. But during this journey, working out exactly what it is you're best at doing, and then finding all of the other people around you, the virtual assistants or the hires, to actually go, right, these are the people that I need to support me. And don't be scared to bring people in that actually, are different to who you are.
No, totally right. And that having that self-awareness to know what are the bits that I do well, that I enjoy, that only I can do.
Yeah, exactly that. You've got a great team around you. You're up to front of it. You've got so much passion and energy, but I imagine you can be an absolute nightmare with your admin. I might be wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Well, there's always a yin to the yang. Any strength has a downside. Every downside has a strength, right? So I think that's right. It's just, as you say, you've got to get comfortable with the self-awareness, understand you don't have to fix it all yourself, and it's a great idea. And I love the point around bringing people in early as well. I think the anxiety of setting up your own business, what we often do is go, oh, I need to get this amount of money in the bank first, or this amount of money in the bank first. And it's never enough to make you feel fully secure anyway. You've actually got to take the leap. Like, there's no point having money in the bank in a business, as crazy as that sounds. You need a little bit, 3 months, whatever, operating expenses. But you want to be putting that to work for you, right? Getting it into resources, into assets, into websites, courses, products, services. Like, you want to be making it work for you and rolling with it. And that's the big switch for me. Is I'd always worked on a make cash, save cash basis, whereas now I'm trying to work out, right, how can we spend this stuff? How can we make it work for us in a new and interesting way? And that takes time to get used to, because it's scary, right?
Yeah, a lot of my money goes out on Amazon.
I don't think they've done too badly over the last 12 months. So,
I would also say, just sorry to interrupt you, Andrew, is, during that period, I would say it's so important as well to invest in a real cool, either business coach or career coach to help you on that journey. It's something that I did, we spoke together, and there was other people that I was speaking to as well in the recruitment world to really help shape you to get you to the next journey and really give you that confidence and that belief, having that sound support group around you at the very beginning is so important. Having people who have been there, done it. I know you've launched, I think, 8-9 businesses or supported 8-9 businesses, whatever it is, probably more now. Yeah, it's being around these people who have been there, tried and tested. You can't buy that. You can't buy that.
And particularly people that will call you out if something's not right, because it's kind of easy to find a load of people who say, yeah, go for it, good for you, but you need people around you that will play that critical friend role and say, you bit off on that one, or that doesn't make sense. Like, you need people who you've got that trust in place that they can have that conversation. I think that's what I've learned is super important.
Yeah, one of my ex recruitment directors, a guy called Chris Kendrick, he now runs Mercury XRM, a recruitment software company. He slates me. He's like, that ain't gonna work. We reshape it and do this. And 9 times out of 10, he's right. It's not that he's hammering me or anything like that. And he's being Mr. Doomcloud. It's just, but why? The question why comes out all the time. Why would people want that? And once I can give him the answer, he's like, okay, now fly, go with it. That's great. Yeah, I love it. But until you know what your why is, don't do it.
No, absolutely. Fantastic insights as always. We love that. I feel like you've obviously been on an incredible journey over the last 12 months. You've also been very vulnerable at various points and shared very openly with some of the challenges you were facing, which I think has been part of your strength in building the community that you have. But I'm wondering, like, what do you think you've learned about yourself over the last year?
Yeah, so to give a bit of a background to that, in February of last year, actually, it was the first time out of work ever, with my first ever bout of a mental health problem. I was out for 4 weeks. So that was actually March last year that was extremely tough period. But it actually, when I look at it now, through the challenges that I go through at the moment and through life in general, whatever, I always look back to that moment and think, I don't want to go back there. That was pretty low. What are the things that I did to help me get through them periods, like my exercising, trying to eat a little bit healthier, doing acts of kindness, positivity, bit of meditation where possible. So all of these things where, I'm in a better frame of mind, help me through that sort of difficult moments that I think we all struggle with in our life at some point. I'd probably call this one, the last one, not the midlife crisis. It really was. There was so much going on. I didn't really want to probably be in the job I was in. I was chasing down to London. There was bereavements in the family. There was all sorts going on. And it's just that everything just came at once. And it happens to us all. And, the one thing that I would say is I looked at this furlough period as a privilege, that it was actually, the government was actually paying me money to be off work. So there was a bit of guilt there as well. I was like, how can I do something positive? Whereas the job searcher had absolutely nothing, so I was like, it's not as bad as it could be. So there's always in my mind, where's the positive and how can I help? And doing these little acts of kindness or whatever it is along the way is something that I just build into my life every single day. Is I want to do something positive. I want to do something kind, because then I can tick the box and go, right, yeah, it's been a good day. Right. Okay. Let's get positive.
I love that. What a tremendous note to finish on. I think that's a fantastic message. I love the perspective that you put into that. Well done, mate. What an incredible journey. I genuinely believe you're one of the heroes of COVID. That's honestly how I feel about what you've been doing. Delighted for all the awards that you've got as well, and for the recognition that you're now getting, because I know you didn't set out for any of that. It was never about that for you, but you are rightly being recognised for the contribution. So on behalf, I know a lot of people who listen to this are also involved with FurLearn and various things. So on behalf of everybody, thank you for the energy that you've brought such a massive difference to everybody, which has been tremendous. If anybody wants to follow up with you from a Talent Today perspective, if they're looking to hire and ramp up their teams in a new and fresh way, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, you can either find me on LinkedIn, look for the bold recruiter, Gary Wills. In fact, on that point, actually, one last little hack, okay? And I know it's something that you talked about before, but if you see me on LinkedIn, you will see that my profile picture changes, it moves. There is now a video which sits behind it. I'd highly recommend the job searcher to actually put in there as well that they're a 30-second summary of who they are. And if they are feeling brave enough, maybe create a 60-second video separately and put it into their CV, a CV summary, of a video summary of myself. That's my last little hack. But anyway, going back to who I am, so you can find me on LinkedIn, Gary Wills. I work for Talent Today, so you can check out my website, which is talenttoday.co.uk. And I specialize in IT projects of work, contract or permanent. So if you're a hiring manager looking to kick off an IT project, I would love to hear from you.
Yeah, you can't go far wrong. He's had a cracking start. Please do reach out to Gary if he can help you in any way. And just a big thanks again for coming on today.
Andrew, thanks again, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
You certainly will. Take care.
Cheers, buddy.
You've been listening to the Career Jump podcast with Andrew MacAskill. For more resources and information, just head over to the Career Jump website at www.execcareerjump.com to supercharge your job search and start making moves. Let's get to work.